my first ever Q&A. There's not really a way I can open this up. I don't actually have this scripted, so I'm just going off the top of my head, so I might not sound as refined as I do in my actual couple scripted videos I posted. But, yeah, I'm just gonna read off some of the questions that I got on my Q&A post. There's only a couple, so this shouldn't be too long. We'll open up with the first question that I wanted to answer. And when am I going to post versus battles on the channel? I'm still working on the Your versus Mr. Satan. I do have the script entirely written out. I got the calcs, I got the scaling, I got the pictures that I need from the manga and all that. I have everything. I just have to do it. Been a little busy lately, getting a new job and all that, so I've just been more focused on that, but it is coming, so there's gonna be that. And I am also working on a versus video with a friend of mine from a channel known as Six Paths Trinity. At the moment, I don't believe they have their first video up yet, but they are working on a video right now. It's mostly going to be Naruto content, but one of their guys is helping me out with a versus video that's going to involve Sage of Six Path Naruto from the War Arc. So, stay tuned for that one. Also, they said the person who left the thing loves my content, so thanks for that. Let's see here. We have another one here. What is my GOAT anime, and what's something you thought you'd hate but ended up liking? It's really hard to say what my favorite anime of all time is, because I could easily default to like kind of the main three of Naruto, Bleach, or Dragon Ball. Because, you know, they're classics. Dragon Ball was probably my first anime, and I watched Original Z, filler and all. So, I do like to say Dragon Ball, and obviously I love the Fate series. I've put how much damn time into the Fate Grand Order mobile game, and how many hours I've spent just researching characters for whatever reason. So, it's really hard, because sometimes I like to say Dragon Ball because of nostalgia. I like to say Fate just because I'm so invested in the series. And other parts of me wants to say the anime Overlord, because I have, I believe, 13 volumes of the manga, 3 of the light novels, and I've watched the anime maybe 4 times now, and I can't wait for season 4. Even though I more or less know what's gonna happen. So, if somebody had, like, put a gun to my head, I would probably say Overlord. Just cause it's just so good. I mean, I am gonna make a video on it in the future about how strong is Ainz, but I could talk about Overlord all day. I love that series. And something that I thought I'd hate and ended up liking was probably Noragami. I thought when I watched the first 2 episodes initially that I kind of hated it. I thought it was stupid. I thought it was bad. I thought it was too goofy. I just did not like it. And then over a year later, I go back to it, and it's actually really good. So, it's definitely Noragami, but there was also Hyoka, which is a slice of life anime, and same thing. I watched the first episode. It was good, but I didn't really like it. I didn't think I could get into it. And then recently, I watched all of it within like 2-3 days. So those are 2 that I can think of off the top of my head. But definitely Hyoka and Noragami, that I thought I would hate, but ended up really liking. We have a couple versus questions. One of, could a team of the strongest My Hero Academia characters take down the Akatsuki, excluding Obito? Okay, so I don't know much My Hero scaling. I do know that they are, I believe, Lightspeed because of the funny naval guy. I've I've watched like 2.5 seasons and basically read what most of season 3 was in the manga, and that's basically all the knowledge I have of said series. But I do know that they are Lightspeed. I know that the Akatsuki can be argued to be Lightspeed because of like databook stuff with Itachi, or the databook saying like the Anbu's jutsu are Lightspeed, or some of them are like... So there is Lightspeed for both, but I do believe that My Hero might be faster if you use someone like All Might, who, when missing half his respiratory organs and constantly tired from having to use his form, while heavily weighted to the point that he says he can't even move, and then holding back, that he's able to like dodge point blank nitroglycerin explosions, which I've seen people calc it to like near or at light speed, or like faster than light, just with how he like ducks around it. So I know that All Might is like really freaking fast, and that again, with the reasons I said before, just the air pressure from his punches when heavily restricted while weighted and missing half his respiratory organs is enough to destroy a city block. So I think if it came down to their strongest characters, that they could definitely brawl the Akatsuki. You can argue that Itachi, Genjutsu, because Sharingan Genjutsu would work because you inject the chakra into their brains. I don't know much about Stars and Stripes, but from what I've heard, she's able to like set some kind of like restrictions or commands on stuff, so if she catches on and she's not taken out first, you can argue that she could do something about Genjutsu. And then I think just like the top tiers of My Hero like can scale roughly to the Akatsuki, and like both sides could win, but I think like if they get singled out or teamed up on, and there's a Chibaku Tensei and some Amaterasu going on, then it might work. Like, if the Akatsuki could take it, but I could see it going either way. But I don't actually know that much My Hero scaling, so I couldn't give, like, a concrete answer. So I say it could be either, but I do like Naruto more, so I would lean there out of, like, a personal bias, but it could go either way, so I'm not too sure. We then have... Could Sonic the Hedgehog defeat Gilgamesh, canon forms only? Well, the biggest thing about Canon Fate is that technically all of it's canon. Fate Grand Order is kind of like the biggest version, if you want to call it that, because there are straight up characters like Kiara. Her beast profile says she is from Fate Extra Triple C, and the strongest version of Gilgamesh is Fate Extra Triple C. There's an event with BB where she constantly makes references to the Mooncell Grail War, aka Fate Extella. So, like, they constantly reference other games. There's crossovers with, like, Apocrypha, and there's just so many crossovers, and that other servants, even not in the crossovers, they do make references to other Fate timelines. So you can easily make the argument that, like, Extra Triple C is canon, and it depends on the Sonic, too. I do know that Archie Sonic is, like, incredibly insane with his, like, hexes and whatnot, so Archie Sonic, I don't know. I've heard that Game Sonic is like, complex multi, and that, like, the Chaos Emeralds are, like, 7th dimensional or something like that. I'm not sure, but it depends, because Gilgamesh can be scaled to 8th dimensional in base when using Extella and Extra. So I think Gilgamesh might out-hax, especially if it's Triple C. You can check my video out on Gilgamesh and what I think of his power and his abilities. But I think, like, especially Triple C Gilgamesh, with being able to conceptually nullify attacks into non-existence, or say that they didn't happen, that Gilgamesh might take it. I know there's some really cracked scaling for Sonic, but I think Game Sonic Gilgamesh might take it. Especially if you can scale Gilgamesh to Outer. And then, yeah, it's a whole whack of stuff. I don't know that much about Sonic, but I do know that he's pretty damn strong. We have a couple Naruto questions here. We have, what if Itachi killed Sasuke? And I guess that more or less depends, like, the kind of the context. So I'd say if he killed him during the Uchiha massacre, Itachi wouldn't have that much of a reason to say to Obito, like, stay out of the village. Because, like, I mean, obviously he wants to protect the village, but he also wanted to protect Sasuke more than anything. So, like, with that gone, Obito or something might attack the village earlier, or it's very weird. I don't know how that one would turn out. If Itachi killed him during his fight with him, then it just kind of messes up the rest of the story in terms out of, like, you know, Sasuke is dead, so Naruto doesn't pursue him. I mean, he'd still have to defend himself against the Akatsuki, but he's gonna lose one of the biggest heavy hitters going into the war arc. So I think that if Itachi killed him, like, it does mess things up, but I do believe Itachi, like, on his own could still, like, mess up Kabuto, so, like, that stuff might still be fixed with, like, the Edo Tensei and all that. But I'm not sure. What if Donzo never existed? Personally, I don't think it changes. I think it does change a decent bit, like, the Uchiha massacre wouldn't have happened. Shisui would have probably still, you know, used his Kodo Matsukami to, you know, take over the Uchiha, or not take over, but stop the coup, because Donzo wouldn't have killed him. So I think that's more or less would have happened, and the Uchiha would have still been there, the village would have been stronger, and even if someone like Pain attacked, it would just be a lot harder to take over the village. That's about more or less what I think of that. What if adult Naruto and Sasuke had intel on Goku and were healthy? Could they win? Unless you, like, even if you use, like, the universal argument or, like, multiversal argument for Naruto, they more than likely still lose, because you have to, like, really stretch to get them that high. I personally don't believe they're anywhere near universal, and I don't think they could pull it off, because Goku, you can argue, is, like, low multiversal in his base form at the start of Battle of Gods, which is basically where people are kind of putting this universal level Naruto type deal. Yeah, that's more or less what I think on that. I don't think they could win, especially if you go, even with, like, again, with the uni scaling, I don't think they can take it, because even if they're relative, Goku just goes MUI, which is like thousands upon thousands of an increase. And then now in the manga, whether you think they're stronger in the manga or not, who cares, but it's still a new form, which will eventually be adapted in the anime, and it's stronger than just, like, base MUI, or, like, the white-haired MUI, like, it is implied to be stronger. Goku says himself that he's, like, matching, or that he's stronger than Gas now, when he couldn't even, like, barely touch him in MUI. There's all these, like, increases, and then there's also the 5D Goku argument, and I just don't think, even with Intel, they could take him, because they just get speed blitzed, especially if they're on that lower tier of power. If they're on, like, the uni tier of power with, like, infinite speed or something, like, maybe they could pull something off, and they know that this guy is susceptible to this, or he's susceptible to that. They might do something, but generally, when you go with, like, the planetary Naruto scaling, it's like Namek Saga Goku could just wipe them all out, even then. And should they make Naruto Storm 5? It'd be nice, but I don't think they will, because they already wrapped up Shippuden and start of Boruto in Storm 4. So I don't think they would, but they could, and I'd be okay with it. I'd like to definitely see more mechanics added to that series. This one's more of an interesting question, but what is my biggest turnoff? I'm not sure. It's hard to say. I can definitely throw that out, that it's very hard to say. Maybe somebody that has more armpit hair than me, because I have a decent amount of hair. So as long as they're not hairier than me or something like that, then Yeah, I'm not really too sure about that. And for the final question here, we have how fertile is Jack the Ripper from Fate? And the only thing that I could say for that is FBI, open up! Oh, fuck.